I'm enjoying sharing my story with you in this video series. And in this second video, I'll tell you about my move from Brazil to Australia and how I started my life from scratch into a successful career in engineering, plus the second aha moment of my life. Hey friends, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Fern, an engineer who found passion for helping busy people manage stress and find happiness. If that sounds like your kind of thing, hit subscribe and join me on this journey. This is the second video in a three-part series, so if you missed the first one, I'll drop the link in the description below. Like I mentioned in the first video, growing up in a poor family with 8 siblings was tough, but I was surrounded by love. And despite the challenges, I managed to become an engineer through a scholarship, and I fulfilled my dream of giving a house to my mom. After achieving financial stability and overcoming a deep depression, I realized that money cannot buy real relationships and long-lasting happiness. That's when I started feeling the need for a change, a desire to do more with my life. So then I decided to move to Australia. A lot of my friends thought I was crazy, and I don't blame them. I had a successful career in Brazil, and I was about to leave everything behind to start from scratch in a country I'd never even been before. There was a lot of uncertainty, but I decided to see the potential, because I learned that I could work as an engineer in Australia if I applied for a skilled visa. The application process was long, but I had almost everything they required, except for one thing: English. I didn't speak any English, but I thought, well, I can learn. So I made a plan. I came to Australia on a 7-month student visa to study English, and my goal was to pass the English test and then apply for the skilled visa here. To move countries was a tough decision to make, but I told myself, even if everything goes wrong, at the least I would have tried and gained valuable experience. Then I sold everything that I had and moved to Sydney. And since the moment I arrived, something amazing happened. I no longer needed my depression medication. It felt like magic. And I think that was because I had a renewed sense of purpose, which was my goal of working in my field here. But at the beginning, I wasn't able to work on anything because I couldn't communicate, and I was focused on learning the language. Going to English school every day, I was learning quickly. But Sydney is expensive, and the money that I brought from Brazil was running out fast. So I worked a little bit as a barista and as a waitress, but crowded environments just weren't my thing. Then I found myself working as a cleaner, and that's when the second big aha moment of my life happened. The very first time I cleaned the toilet, it's the vivid memory. I was scrubbing away, sitting on the ground, and I got emotional. Tears filled my eyes. It was tears of happiness though, because I realized and confronted my ego. It was like a nasty little voice in my head, saying negative things and trying to make less of me for the work I was doing. Then I stopped. I realized it wasn't me saying this. It was my ego. And that's why I cried, because I felt so happy to notice. I realized the essence of the person that I am, which is my heart, regardless of what I do. But I had developed this ego after experiencing a superficial life of status in Brazil, and I lost sight of the essence of life, the person that I am, my heart. I was even ashamed of my ego once I noticed it. But looking back now, I see it is important to share it because it is life. We live and we learn. We are never a finished product. And that was the day I truly woke up. At the time I was reading the work of Eckhart Tolle on the ego and the power of now. So it really helped me see things clearly. And it made so much sense. Then I started enjoying living in the moment. And I was so much happier. I used to put on my headphones and sing out loud while cleaning people's houses. I learned to be happy at work because I was managing stress, practicing daily meditation and expressing gratitude. So I kept working as a cleaner for a while and studying English. Then I decided it was time to apply for engineering jobs because it was my goal to work in my field here and stay in Australia. And I was applying a lot, for like 10 jobs a day. I even visited a couple of construction sites in person to drop off my CV, even though that wasn't really how things are done, but I was determined to make it work. But there were so many moments that I wanted to give up, because I stopped believing myself. If you ever lived in another country, speaking another language, You probably know how hard it is to express ourselves. We get stuck in our heads sometimes and we doubt our capabilities. Then I put these reminders on the wall telling myself, you are an amazing engineer and you're capable, you can do this. And finally, one day I got a call for an interview. Just one. But I was so excited. I finally had one shot and I prepared so much for it. I still remember the interview so clearly. My English was still very basic. I had been here for 6 months only. So I put together a physical folder with the information and photos of my accomplishments in Brazil. And during the interview, if there was anything that I couldn't explain well enough, I would pull out my little folder and show them my experience. But what really made a difference, besides my determination, was the fact that I was good on designing on AutoCAD, which was exactly what they needed. And guess what? I got the job. My first engineering job in Australia. And not just that, they offered me a sponsor visa so I could work full time. And I'm still so thankful for that. And I became an Australian citizen a couple of years later because of that. I ended up working for that company for 4.5 years. First as a design engineer, and then as a project engineer, and finally as a project manager. It was great, but after a while I really wanted to take on bigger projects. So I moved on to the public sector, where I have been working for over 4 years as a project manager. This is my day job now. I absolutely love it and I'm very good at it. So I achieved my goal of managing major projects in Sydney, and I couldn't be happier at work now, and that's because I learned to manage stress, which makes a big difference. But that aha moment of noticing and confronting my ego was a huge awakening in my life, and I'm so grateful for that. My journey also taught me that I can be more than one thing. An engineer, a cleaner, a yoga teacher, a life coach, you name it. We can be anything we want if we confront those negative voices in our head. I know it's easier said than done, but if you're thinking about doing something different in your life right now, just do it. Because even if it goes wrong, it is still a win, because you will learn something. I always think about my 90-year-old self. When I'm 90, I want to look back on my life and say I have lived without regrets. Because you will regret more the things you didn't do than the ones you did. So don't be afraid to be adventurous and trying new things. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be as simple as trying a painting class or a new sport or trying to make new friends. Life gets more exciting when we have little goals to pursue. And don't feel bad if you don't always succeed. Sometimes it's just not meant for you, but you'll never know if you don't try. I have failed way more times than I have succeeded, but I have learned so much from it. In the next video, I'll tell you how I found love and share my third biggest aha moment in life after struggling with fertility, along with my journey to helping busy people manage stress. I'll leave the link in the description below. Tell me in the comments if you had a similar experience realizing your ego. I would love to hear from you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone that you care about. And don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell so you'll never miss an update. I have got plenty more content coming your way. Your support means the world, so thank you for being part of our community. See you soon.